Moving on to the final region we're going to be talking about. You have the South Regional. Of course, it's where the number one overall seed is. You have the top four seeds. The number one overall, Alabama. Number two, Arizona. Number three, Baylor. And number four, Virginia. Of course, we also have San Diego State in this bracket. So I'm actually pass it over to Coach first. Give us your thoughts on the South Regional.
South Regional, second region, strongest, hardest region to get out of. And that's not just because they're hosting the overall one seed in Alabama. I mean, you look at Bama, you look at San Diego State, you look at UVA, who was a national championship a couple years back. You look at Baylor, talk about quieter team than Duke. Well, at least for me, since I didn't watch a lot of Big 12, but you see Baylor there. And then there's Arizona, who we talked about Tubelis as on a player spotlight weeks ago, that's on this team. So, and then here we go again about the selection committee. We got two Mountain West teams, one being Utah State and then San Diego State in the same region. Come on, guys, like spread it out a little bit better. But I like Bama for the most part up until they meet in the Elite Eight. A lot of good teams. I think Creighton is putting their best body of work right now, finishing the Big East strong. I'm really curious about this Virginia Furman game. Virginia has proven all ACC long to struggle scoring the ball. And as a San Diego State fan, there have been plenty of stretches throughout a game where San Diego State's gone silent, scoring the ball for about 5 minutes, give or take. Well, this Virginia team makes it even harder for themselves. So they rely on packing it in, and their defense is strong. So if Furman gets out and gets hot and Virginia can't necessarily catch up offensively, look for that upset here. I'm not going to speak on many more upsets throughout my brackets, but here's one, a 4 and a 13. I think what I've heard across the airwaves is San Diego State was the top 5 seed throughout and could easily been a 4. Now, if that slip up at Boise State never happened, we're probably talking San Diego State 4 and Virginia 5 as some of these kind of brackets shape out. But, I think UVA has enough to pull out the first round, but possibly not the second round, facing a tough defensive-minded San Diego State team. Now, I text both of you when someone, I forgot who it was, text that we're facing Charleston. I see a lot of comparisons between Charleston and Utah State. I think this is a game for our bigs, whether it's Rope, Mensa, Keyshawn Johnson, and Orley D, just really dominating the paint, hitting the glass hard, putting in second chance opportunities, and really dictating a physical game versus Charleston shooters. Charleston can shoot the heck out the ball, but San Diego State's proven to be able to shut down the three-point opportunities. Utah State was at one point the number one three-point shooting team in the nation. And San Diego State did a very good job limiting them opportunities, putting up 4 shots. So I see State very comfortable facing this team. But, there's that stigma that they're all fighting. Dutch has to get his first NCAA win. And a lot of those Aztecs, not just Dutch, have to get their first NCAA win. And that could play in the minds of a team and a coach. And it has to change, like I said, with Nevada and the other Mountain West teams. They got to make a run. They got to make this season statement that getting 4 teams in isn't a fluke. And I actually have Arizona pulling this region out moving forward.
Yeah, very, very good stuff there, Coach. It's going to be an interesting regional, especially having, Alabama as the number one overall seed with, of course, all the drama that's been going on that side of things. But Raider Jim, what are your thoughts on the South Regional?
Yeah, Alabama #1, so it really doesn't matter who wins the playoff game in this region. I really think Alabama definitely goes first round, second round. Maryland's going to get a victory over West Virginia in the first round. They're going to make it a game against Alabama, but I think Alabama advances there. San Diego State and Charleston. I like the Aztecs. I think Charleston, they're going to look past Charleston maybe to a degree. The one thing I've seen in the little bit of San Diego State ball that I've seen this year, and maybe it's coincidence, the few minutes I'll turn on a game or whatever it may be, they play with, there's a propensity for error, and there's also a propensity for emotion. And it's not a good emotion. It's the emotion where it's like, I made reference to it last week, somebody, Colorado State or Colorado, whichever team they were playing, got the lead on a shot, and everybody's shoulder, a couple guys' shoulders went down, their heads went down, they're shaking their head, discouragement. And it's not so much that you can't have that feeling. It's not so much you can't have the emotion. If you've ever played cards, you never show anybody your cards. Keep your cards close to the vest. Don't let anybody else see it. When you get in the huddle, when coach calls timeout, gush your head off and say, man, this is not good. Say it amongst yourselves. Don't show the entire TV audience. Charleston can shoot the lights out from anywhere on the court. The other thing they do well, and coach kind of hit on it because it's got to be the San Diego Bigs that pull this out. Charleston can grab offensive glass. They're very, very good at that. And that could be the difference right there. Not so much if they're shooting from 3 points or what the percentage is, it's how many of the missed shots are they grabbing their own rebounds. Watch for this one, but I think Charleston's going to move on, unfortunately. Virginia and Furman. I like the Paladins. The first time in 43 years they've been into the tournament. Virginia's going to be too much. They're going to come in ready to play. They will advance. Creighton. Here's my upset in this bracket. There's going to be an upset in this conference, and it's going to be NC State taking out Creighton. For me, Creighton is good. They've been playing well. I like Creighton University. They have been too inconsistent. It depends. They've kind of been a little Jekyll and Hyde this year. Never know which team's going to show up. So we'll see. They've got to put Dr. Jekyll on the court and not Mr. Hyde. If they do that, they'll get past NC State. But I'm going to go with NC State in my bracket. Baylor, I don't know. They've had the wins, they've had the losses. They've been a little inconsistent compared to the most recent years. But in number 3, they'll get past Santa Barbara. That's not an issue. They're going to go up against Missouri, and then watch out. That could be an upset in that round. Right now, I would take Baylor over Missouri. I won't be surprised, though, if they do not advance. Congratulations to Tommy Lloyd and Omar Ballo, the former Zags, who are doing their thing with the Wildcats down there. Ended up winning the Pac-12 tournament. I went on record last week saying, no way in hell were they going to pull that out, but they proved me wrong, and I'm okay with that. Oh, it's going to be a great conference. It will come down, or it could very well come down to Arizona, Alabama, and then that's just going to be a game to watch. Arizona is not going to keep up with the shooting of Alabama, but talk to me after the first 2 rounds. When we're down to 16, I'll let you know what I think.
Yeah. I think if you're San Diego State, you have to just maybe call up the selection committee and say, hey, what do we have to do to, maybe not get shipped 3,000 miles to play our first game?
Big
it seems like
difference, yes.
every single year, it doesn't matter what number San Diego State has next to their name, they're playing their first games in Orlando or Charleston or New York. It blows my mind. I mean, even a central time zone, can they get a central time zone mixed in there somewhere? Obviously not the case, as they're back out to Orlando again. But I will say it's really unfortunate, the draw that they get. I think Charleston is unfortunately that quintessential 12 seed that always kind of gets that upset. But if San Diego State does get by Charleston, and what I would expect it to be Virginia, that's just how my bracket goes. I do worry a bit about that, only because I feel like Virginia is a similar team to San Diego State in terms of the way they want to run. They want to play defense first, and win the game 60-58. Unfortunately, I just feel like Virginia is a little bit more well suited to that. Maybe even in the 40s with these two teams, but we'll see about that going forward. It's just unfortunate San Diego State has to go across country and face a 30-win team. That's going to be a really tough situation. Baylor's a team as well. I mean, UC Santa Barbara is obviously, not a pushover, and I could very easily see them making that a game. I wonder if you go into that game, it's 5 minutes left and it's a 2-point game. I don't know about the mental toughness of Baylor. There have been a lot of games this year that they've just let get away from them. You talked about San Diego State kind of having that body language of things like that. It's kind of how I look at Baylor as well. So keep an eye on that one as well. Overall, though, this region, I think it's going to come down to the top 2 teams. I think Arizona does take down Alabama. I've been very bullish on Arizona all year. I think they have everything that you need. I think they have good guard play. They have 2 really good bigs. And I think that will be enough. The only thing is, maybe they haven't played in the toughest conference top to bottom. But I don't think that will matter because I think Alabama's played in a conference that's not terribly good top to bottom as well. So going forward, look for Arizona to come out of this one, but I do expect this to be a very, very interesting regional. Plenty of upsets. This could be one of those where we see 2 double-digit seeds head to the Sweet 16 one way or another. But that is all we have for the first 2 rounds here of the March Madness preview.